What is going on, my typical family? Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to quickscope in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. Now first off, when we start, I'm going to try and keep this video a little bit under 5 minutes, if not at 3 minutes, and teach you guys how to quickscope as quickly as possible so you guys can get out there and go ahead and just do it, have some fun, learn the new sniping ways, and possibly be the next Pomage. What you're seeing on the screen is 4 different types of sniping, and those are hard scoping, quick scoping, half scoping, and no scoping. And what you're going to be doing is today learning how to quickscope, and there's 2 different versions of quickscopes. Those versions of quickscopes are the pop shot and the drag scope. When you're pop shotting, you're more so going to be aiming for linear running objects or enemies. You're also going to be hitting more of objects that are a lot harder to hit, such as somebody on a head glitch. And there's also, for drag scoping, is definitely something when you're anticipating somebody's direction. If they're running horizontal, if they're running and they don't see you and they're at a long distance and you're trying to kind of drag your scope onto them in a quick fashion, it's just as quick as quick scoping, except for the fact that you're kind of dragging your scope a little and you're anticipating where they're going to be. I'm going to show you how to do both of those and in which predicaments they are best for. So let's get right into it. But right now what you're doing is seeing me pop shot or seeing me basic quick scope. And what that is basically I'm lining up the 4 little white dashes, which are your crosshairs, and making sure that your enemy or the object that you're shooting at is in the middle of those crosshairs. And then you want to use your L2 or left trigger or whatever you play with to aim. Use your aim and then shoot once you see your crosshairs. Once you see the little cross that's in your scope, then you want to immediately shoot. The moment that you see those crosshairs or that cross in your scope, you know that your shot is going to be accurate, because your accuracy is 100% the moment that you see those crosses. Okay, now with the cross in your scope, you want to make sure that you're doing it as quick as possible. If you do it at the perfect speed when somebody's spectating you or you see it, you honestly won't even see the crosshairs, and it'll look like a pop shot or a black scope, which is what people call it when it looks nice and clean. But also a quick scope, you can still scope into your scope for about half a second is usually the the non-official rule behind quick scoping, or at least in competitive quick scoping and the community that follows that is kind of about half a second that you have between being able to shoot after your crosshairs are already up, or maybe about a third of a second before it's considered a hard scope. Also, when you're doing this, I do not hold my breath. I only hold my breath when I know for a fact that I'm about to hard scope. The reason being is because if you hold your breath, you do not have as much mobility to end up dragging if you end up aiming off of your target. There are 3 main steps to pop shotting, and these 3 steps are: 1, make sure that your target is in the middle of your white crosshairs. 2, scope in to right exactly when you can see your crosshairs, and then fire at that moment. You don't want to fire before you scope or your shot will be off, and you don't want to scope too long or scope too less and your shot will also be off. Moving on, we're going to discuss drag scopes or drag shots, whatever you want to call them. They're actually pretty helpful, and they're still considered quick scoping if you do it within a third of a second. Now we're moving on to drag scopes. The great thing about drag scopes is I do them quite a bit every now and then, especially at distance or when somebody else is running and doesn't see me and I need to anticipate my target. What you're going to do is the same exact thing as quick scoping, except for instead of your target being in the middle of your crosshairs, you're going to end up starting away from your target and drag your scope towards your target. It takes good timing, it takes some learning to get used to. Also, it really helps to have a higher sensitivity. I'm currently playing on 10 sensitivity and it helps a lot, and you can quickly drag and you want to shoot as soon as you see the target in the middle of your crosshairs. It literally takes the most insane hand-eye coordination to do, but you'll get used to it once you play with some bots to practice and start getting your shot down. You'll understand how it works and what you have to do. But it works a lot when you're not prepared to see an enemy, or you're not in an area in which somebody is going to come in a linear fashion. So you can just kind of drag scope onto somebody and it makes it a lot easier. So what you're seeing here is me, of course, dragging with my analog stick at a higher sensitivity, just dragging onto the target and shooting, dragging onto the target and shooting, just constantly doing that motion and getting used to the hand-eye coordination. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Remember to hit that subscribe button down below, like, comment if you need any help with learning anything else with Call of Duty, or just let me know how you feel about this tutorial. Remember guys, some things that you can do to practice are put on some bots in a private match, put the health on minuscule, put them on recruit, put them on regular, however you feel necessary, and just kind of focus on trying to hit as many bots as possible. Remember guys, stay more than typical. Don't let anybody in front of your dreams. Peace. Out all night, I don't know where you been. You never know your words, not making any sense, but I don't fucking care.